What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today's video is just Yeti. MJ is at work, but Yeti has to talk about something pretty important. I'm gonna stop talking in third person now. So my conversation today is all about heat. I'm sure that's why you clicked on the video, because of the title. I know there are so many videos you could be watching that are out there on this, and you've clicked on mine, so I'm honored. Thank you. I'm gonna give you the best knowledge that I have in terms of any kind of heat, things that are gonna be bad about certain heaters, things that are going to be good about heaters, things that are going to be the heaters to purchase right away if you have the money, the heaters to stay away from, the heating methods to stay away from. Now, for those of you who don't know, I live in a 2004 GMC Savana 1500 van. I have been living in this van with my girlfriend MJ for about, I want to say 10 months now. And within that 10 months, I've obtained a crazy amount of knowledge, living this lifestyle full-time, traveling the country of the United States, and just kind of seeing what I can see so far. I'm only 23 and I have a lot of life to live yet, but I know that nomadic lifestyle is where I'm going to be for the rest of my life. Now, with that said, let's get into the heat. MJ and I have only been living in the van for 10 months. We still have our first method of heating when we first moved into the van, because we try not to live in colder temperatures. But right now we're currently living in Colorado and it gets really cold. I know outside right now behind me it kind of looks nice, but it's actually, let me check, it's only 48 degrees outside and 64 in here. So I have the door open, I'm using a solar panel to charge my Jackery, and it's kind of a cold draft behind me. I know that on a day like today, I would almost want to close all my doors and I'd be fine because I have an insulated van. Now I use R3 insulation, 1/4 inch, and then after the R3 foam board, I use spray foam as well and aluminum foil tape, and then I put panels on. My van is pretty insulated. And with that, I don't have to usually use a heater in 40 degrees, 30 degrees. But when it gets down into the 20 degrees, 10 degrees negative, and I have lived in this van during those temperatures, that's when I use this, and I do not recommend anyone buy this for their van, and there's so many reasons why. Now, I understand that not everybody has a crap ton of money and can just afford the best heater right off the bat, but we didn't start that way either, and I understand why so many people are gonna go with the Mr.Buddy heater, and that's what this is the Mr.Buddy 16-ounce propane heater. There are a lot of reasons why you don't get this heater, and there are so many videos talking about why you don't get this heater. Now, I'll just right off the bat say the 3 reasons. Reason number 1, it actually takes oxygen from its surroundings to bring it in and then heat that oxygen and push it back out. So it's taking oxygen from a confined space, and living in a small vehicle like a truck, a van, it's taking oxygen away, which is why another reason number 2, you need to have at least 7 inches of ventilation when using this device, which completely eliminates the purpose of a heater, because all of my heat then is escaping through the 7 inches of ventilation. Over time, it's never going to keep. I have to have the heater running constant, which means I'm burning a lot of gas and I'm losing a lot of money using this constantly, like a normal house heater. Now, not everybody is going to live like I do. I live more in my vehicle than out of my vehicle because I really built this van to be a home, and I want to live in it like as if it's my full-time house, because that's what it is. So for some people that are maybe just using their vehicles as a camper, this might be a better option because, you know, it's cheap and you can use it anywhere. It's portable, it has a handle. I can take this thing virtually anywhere, and that's pretty nice. But when in terms of actually trying to turn your van into a home full time, you want to have the same accommodations you would in a sticks and bricks house, like a diesel heater. Now, that's definitely the best way to go about heating, and that's like, I don't have one yet, and I know that that's the best way. I've watched so many videos and so many people have said. I also have an older brother that lives in his Sprinter van, and he has a diesel heater, and he says that it works phenomenally. He just got it and he loves it. So I'm gonna probably get some knockoff diesel heater for in here this winter at some point. I just haven't juggled around those kind of finances. I just bought the Blue Yeti with MJ. That was a big purchase, so now we're gonna kind of save a little bit, let our bank accounts recuperate, and get back into jumping into more van build buys. Because we have to work full-time jobs while doing this, it's kind of like, we we have to figure out time with everything, and it's crazy. We make it happen, and for that, can you guys click that like button down below if you show some love. Show me that I'm doing all right in front of the camera, and you know, we're making progress on teaching you guys about the heating methods to use. All right, so the reasons to use a diesel heater are the number one, it has a thermostat. So it's almost just like you're in a house. You can adjust the thermostat to a level of how hard you want the fan to be blowing out hot air, and you can almost adjust the temperature in your vehicle to a precise temperature, which with the Mr. Buddy, it has two temperatures, high and low, and both of them burn tons of gas, take lots of oxygen, and then also take moisture into the air. That's the one I didn't mention, I'm sorry, but the Mr. Buddy heater has so much moisture when using this thing that'll create mold, and that is the worst thing to have in a vehicle. So we are really cautious the way we use this heater, and I don't suggest this unless you're really broke like we were when we started getting into van life, and we're still broke now. So, you know, I understand why people do it. It's just to work, but believe me, there are better options out there. If you have the money, go out there and get yourself a diesel heater. And if you want a gasoline one, you can run a gasoline one, tap it into your gasoline vehicle. If you have a diesel one and want to tap it into your diesel tank for your vehicle's tank, you don't even have to have a small external tank. But I see most people have a smaller detached external tank somewhere for their diesel gas, and that's probably what we'll do in here, and I would suggest that to anyone else. Having moisture in your van from the Mr. Buddy, having no oxygen, and having ventilation loss, I feel like this is just an absolute waste of time. I also hear people talking about candles and wax burning things, or burning your stove, like turning on your propane stove and sitting there. Those are things that I would say I did when I first started living in a vehicle, not knowing anything about vehicle life and not knowing that YouTube was just right here to teach me everything. I started doing those crazy things, and I would never suggest that to anyone. Running your stove on, okay, that'd be the least dangerous one. But having a candle, you can have a candle in your vehicle, sure, if you just sit there and watch it, but it is not a heating source of any kind. I used to live in a SUV when I first started living in vehicles. I lived in a 1998 Ford Explorer for about 4 months in negative 20-degree weather in Wisconsin. It was brutal cold, and I had an Eskimo sleeping bag. I slept super, super confined with a candle right next to me, a 3-wick candle just to hold my hands over, just to feel some kind of heat. That was horrible. I would never suggest heating yourself with a candle. It's dangerous. You can fall asleep and then burn your whole self alive. So I never do that. And I would never have a stove on all the time, because the same thing, you could fall asleep and boom, your stove's running forever, and maybe something knocks over and falls onto the burner. I just don't think those are very safe, and I'm not going to suggest those to anybody unless you're crazy and you want to risk it and you think like, hey, this is my heating method. Buzz off, Yeti. And I understand those people are going to be like that for sure, especially in the van community. But Mr. Buddy, good if you're cheap, but I would get it right out of here if you have the money right away. So I think it's like $300 to $1,000 for a diesel heater. You can get a lot of different ones. I hear the Olympian Wave constantly too. And the Olympian Wave is also another propane heater that's a flat board that then attaches to a wall. And it's about $500 to $600 US dollars. And it hooks up right to a 20-pound tank, so you wouldn't be exchanging the small tanks. And you can get an adapter to hook up to your 20-pound tank to this device. But the thing is, you're still always using propane, which means you have to have the ventilation. It does cause the moisture, and it's overall just a worse device because you can't adjust a nice temperature, which is what you want. Another heating method to try if you guys are really wild and really want to go for the aesthetic purpose and the hard work of just having to cut your own wood and clean this chimney, you can get a van chimney, and it is called a Cubic Mini. It is cool. It is only about $1,000 with the entire kit to put it in your van or your bus or your box truck. So many people have these things. It's a Cubic Mini is essentially, it's just a small wood burning stove, and I have thought about these. I actually originally built this van Ronda for one of these Cubic Minis to be right here, but after not even being in a winter because we kept leaving winters when we kept traveling, and even now I don't know if I'll be in Colorado for the full winter, so we don't know if we want to stick that kind of money into the heating source when we could stick that money into more off-grid things and just go to a warmer climate, because our house does have a steering wheel. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that it helped a little bit with insulation too, just on the side note, and it helps you teach you more about heat and what to use and what not to use, and kind of just just what devices to go with. I definitely would look into cubic mini and diesel heater if you have the money to jump into it the right way. And this is the Mr. Buddy heater that I have here, and I would not suggest it unless you don't have money and you're going into it broke and you just need heat now. It is the more safe heat now option, but it still causes a lot of things that make it not the best heating source out there. All right, everybody, click a thumbs up if you thought this video was awesome, and if you comment down below what the next video's topic would be, that'd be awesome. I have a ton of ideas, but more ideas are always good, and I'd like to get the community growing out here. Put the bell on, subscribe, all that jazz. I'm gonna get yelled at if I don't say all that, so